Clubs which have gone in opposite directions since their last clash a month ago tangle at Percival Molson as the BC Lions visit the Montreal Alouettes. It was raining this morning. The rain has ended. The field is slick and wind could be a factor today at 31 Ks and gusting. Wally Buono's Lions have lost 3 straight, now lead second place Edmonton by only 2 points in the West. Don Matthews challenged his Als to win the second half of the season. After a loss to BC, they've won 3 straight, and that was a controversial loss to the Lions a month ago. 27-26 the score on that day when the 2-point convert was unsuccessful. Damon Duval will kick things off. We got one of the up men with the football. A little unconventional. And there was plenty of discussion about who might start today when Casey Printers did very little in the warm-up, but he is going to call the first offensive signals of the day.
Yeah, Casey Printers had to come off the bench versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and the arm started to fatigue, so did not take a lot of reps in warm-up, but will start. There's his offensive lineman. Tika is the veteran at tackle.
Just the 3rd start of the year for the outstanding player in 2004. On a roll, Casey Printers up across the 45. And Printers, who ran for 469 yards a year ago, has a first down rush.
Good way to start for Casey Printers. Get out there and run. Felipe Claybrooks will start at defensive end. This is 4th game dressed, 2nd start for the Montreal Alouettes. Kevin Johnson back in the middle at middle linebacker. Jeremiah Garrison experiment over for now, and Richard Carey leads the entire CFL in interceptions with 9.
13 yards for Printers on the initial play of the game, and now looking for Geroy Simon, and that pass incomplete. And again, Jarius Jackson and Buck Pierce are here with the Lions, and they did most of the throwing in the pregame warm-up.
Yeah, and this was just so Casey Printers could rest the arm as long as possible and not use any of the throws up. He's going to have a limited number of throws over the next 3.5 hours of this football game, and they want to use them all when they matter, not in warm-up.
2nd and 10 for the Lions at their 48. Printers has time. Look for Simon, and he is mugged as he went across the middle. Kelly Malvo with his hands on the intended receiver, and Geroy a little slow to get up.
Well, both he and Casey Printers both slow to get up. Printers just now getting back to his feet. He got hit as he threw that football. And then at the other end, Kelly Malvo made contact with Geroy Simon.
Geroy, who led the league in receiving a year ago, 5th this year, with over 1,000 yards. Jake Ireland in charge.
Illegal contact. Montreal number 26. That penalty is declined. Pass interference. Montreal number 21. Point of the foul. First down.
You can see Kelly Malvo right down to the left of your screen there. See how he makes contact. He tried to cross in behind of Geroy Simon to get to the football. When he did, he got him all crossed up. He went down. That's pass interference.
Claybrooks and Bell out of the defense for Montreal. Here's the first carry for Antonio Warren. Not much there up the middle. And Warren with only 183 yards rushing in the last 5 games. That's an average of 36.6 as the running game has sputtered.
Yeah, a lot of people are wondering why Antonio Warren has not seen the football a little bit more. He has dropped off as far as his touches out of the backfield, but not by a lot, only about 3 per game. And that can be significant for running back because they want to get upwards around 15 to 20, but it's been drastic.
2nd and 10. Printers has an open man, and that's Myers with a first down, and Glenn Casey Printers backpedaling, and it looked like the Alouette defense was still trying to get on the same page. A lot of talking amongst the 12 on Montreal's defense when that play started.
Yeah, they weren't lined up quite right. They were just trying to get all lined up, and Casey Printers took advantage of it, went a quick count. And that throw shows you that he certainly has the arm strength. You can see Strickland right here. He's looking to try and get everybody lined up straight.
So some new people in. I mean, there are some familiar faces returning in Johnson and Butler. Ricky Bell, a newcomer. And it's a first down for the Lions. Printers, this time, under pressure, and throws it away and avoids the sack. So good presence of mind by Casey Printers under intense pressure.
Yeah, he'll always try to escape first, and the escape lanes for Casey Printers have often been between the tackles and the guards. In other words, stepping up in the pocket and then getting to the outside. This time when he stepped up there, those lanes were closed down, so he turned around, threw it right out of bounds.
Big Mark Word forced Printers to throw it away, and there is a sense that the Lions can exploit Printers' speed against the big defensive end today. 2nd and 10. And Printers looking downfield and overthrows Jason Claremont, who had a step on Richard Carey, the Alouette safety.
Well, that's the right read for Casey Printers to come down, because he sees the pressure's going to come from the backside. He'll roll away from that and realizes that Richard Carey right over here is going to end up being locked up on Jason Claremont, who's going to run the corner pattern. That's where you want to go. It's inside position from the defensive back. You know you got an outside break to that corner. He had the man, he had him open by a step, and just overthrew him by about 1.5 yards.
And look who's back in the CFL, Mark McLaughlin, his first kick in 3 years. Recently signed for Duncan O'Mahony, and he pushes it to the left. And Ezra Landry's going to lug it out. And Landry tripped up as he crossed the 35-yard line. Otherwise, he'd still be running. McLaughlin misses from 37. Too many men on the field for the Lions. It gives Montreal a first down, and they stay on offense. And here's Edwards bursting through, and Baron Miles trying to wrestle him down as Edwards dances to the 27.
Well, crucial error early on for the BC Lions, and the Montreal Alouettes are getting used to this charity. That happened to them when they traveled to Saskatchewan. They had a field goal on the board in a key situation in that game versus the Rough Riders, and then a too many men call put them back on the field offensively, and it ended up in a touchdown. 4 points was the difference in that sequence. 4 points the difference in the game last week for Montreal, and a crucial error for the Lions, very similar to last week.
First down after the 18-yard romp. Calvillo looking in the end zone. Byron Anderson can't bring it down, looking for his first major since returning to the Alouette offense.
Well, you know, Ryan Phillips did a nice job there. He was in the deep third of the zone coverage, meaning he had all deep receivers, and Thyron Anderson ending up being the guy that goes down that, but he uses patience. He just stays on the outside hip. He knows the ball's about to arrive, and without panicking, waits till it gets there, times his jump perfectly, and then just distracts Thyron Anderson enough to get it out of there.
Phillips, who Wally Buono likened to a young Eddie Davis in that Lions secondary with good coverage. 2nd and 10. Time for Calvillo, but he misfires, leading Cahoon too far. And it will be 3rd down.
Covering on that play, Chris, was Tony Tiller, and Tony Tiller will play the nickel. He was the starting halfback versus Winnipeg last week when Milt Stegall put 246 yards and 4 touchdowns on him. So it's been a bit of a tough week for number 24, the BC Lions, right there in your screen, and does a pretty good job in the trail position. But the teammates say he's bounced back. He's had a good week of practice. He'll play the nickel and maybe matched up on Ben Cahoon a bit tonight, or today, I should say.
That doesn't get any easier, does it?
No.
So here's Duval attempting from 33 yards out. Good on 78% so far this year. What would amount to a charity 3 points offered by the Lions. And Duval puts it through. So the too many men penalty gives Don Matthews team 3. In a bunch formation, Antonio Warren, and a big gain for Warren up across midfield and into Alouette territory at the 50-yard line. And this Alouette defense has been vulnerable against the run in recent weeks.
And I mentioned Antonio Warren not seeing the football quite as much during this 3-game losing streak. It's not significant in about that it's 3 carries per game or 3 touches, whether it be from the line of scrimmage, a running play like that, or passing him the football out of the backfield.
18 yards that time. Kevin Johnson back in the middle. Saskatchewan had running success last week. Over 300 yards in the previous 2 weeks running against Montreal. Geroy Simon reversing field. Extra yards there. But after he turned it up, there was a flag, and was he aided by an illegal block?
Yeah, looks like it is going to come back.
Pass interference. BC number 26, 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
I think he means Lyle Green, 28.
Yeah, or
Correction,
36.
correction, that number was 28.
28, there you go. He corrected it for you. Lyle Green. Lyle Green with the illegal contact downfield on a defender. Basically, it's a pick set for Geroy Simon, and that pick by Lyle Green was called.
Jake's just used to calling Carl Kidd's number. Printers in trouble. And Claybrooks and Anwar Stewart bring him down. Well, he got out of the grass with Claybrooks, but Stewart there to clean up the mess.
Anwar Stewart is the reason that this play has problems for the BC Lions, because he times his spin move almost perfectly. He's going to come from the outside here. He gets upfield, then he'll spin right back into the escape lane. Obviously, Anwar Stewart, the veteran, understands where Printers likes to escape. He likes to escape between the guard and tackle. And Anwar Stewart spins into that area, plugs up that hole, and then continues on and actually ends up getting the sack.
8th sack for Stewart, and his 3rd against the Lions. But the top defensive player a year ago, only a part-timer in this defense. Here's a pass for Simon, and he has it, but out of bounds. Couldn't get a foot down on what was 2nd and 35. That would have been 25 back, but it's incomplete.
But with the sack, the Lions lose lots of valuable yardage in the field position battle. And that throw to Geroy Simon, had it been in bounds, would still have been short of the first down. So, but it would have got a lot of this field position back.
So 3rd and 35. And Duncan O'Mahony, who has done a good job punting the football this year. 2nd in net punting at 39.5. Into the game. They come after him, and O'Mahony just got it away. And that one into the Alouette bench. There's Edwards steamrolling his way across the 50.
Yeah, Edwards may be the best power running back. I mean, this guy just gets the shoulder pad level down and the knees churning. And when you have that combination, shoulder pads down, knees churning, then the 1 or 2 hits at the line of scrimmage aren't going to bring you down. And that's what he brings to the table. He's the best power runner in the league.
14 for Edwards. This time play action. And a completion. Vaughn's got it. Brought down by Phillips, but another Alouette first down at the BC 43.
A couple of plays that are successful to Robert Edwards now turns into success in the passing game. In that play action now has to be respected by the linebacking core. As soon as you see Barron Simpson, he's got to hold his position on Edwards right there. In fact, he fills the hole. And that allows Simpson and Terry Vaughn to get open and behind, because if Simpson doesn't fill that hole, Barron Simpson would drop into that area where Terry Vaughn just caught the football.
Alouettes marching. They lead by a field goal. This should be the final play of the opening quarter. Back to Edwards. Initial contact from Otis Floyd, but Edwards ran through that tackle and is down to the 30. And another Montreal first down. So Robert Edwards has the ground game rolling here at Percival Molson. Our first quarter stats are brought to you by Rona, the how-to people.
The Alouettes starting to get some of that momentum with a couple of first downs in a row here from Calvillo.
Calvillo looking for Ben Cahoon, and he was wide open, but couldn't make the connection. Jason Crum, the safety, getting over there at the last second.
Yeah, the BC Lions have had to make the changes in their secondary, and it'll create some interesting matchups. We talked about Tony Tiller, and he'll be the nickelback. It moves Jason Crum into this middle of the field to play free safety and put Baron Miles, the free safety this year for the Lions, out at halfback. Former Montreal Alouette facing his old teammates at the halfback spot.
2nd and 10. Calvillo stands in, fires a strike, and Terry Vaughn has another catch. Vaughn, who was a 136 yards short of 1,000, has been a favorite target so far today.
And Terry Vaughn is working one-on-one on Ryan Phillips, and Vaughn's just going to come up the field, and then there's that chop step bounce to the outside, and the ball brings him back to where he's got to run back inside because the throw is slightly behind him.
So 16 yards for Terry Vaughn. First down at the 14. Nice fake by Calvillo. He has Watkins. And Watkins stopped at the 8-yard line. Sam Young, the corner, meeting Kerry Watkins.
Again, Chris, look at the influence that Robert Edwards is making on this defense. Edwards right here is going to hit the line of scrimmage on play action, and watch how he is absolutely tackled from the outside, and that allows Anthony Calvillo out there. You can see Tyrone Williams, I believe it was, who just went right down there and tackled him even though he didn't have the football. Or was it Chris Wilson off the edge?
8th play of the drive. It's 2nd and 4. Ball on the line, 8-yard line. Calvillo rolling left. Terry Vaughn wide open, touchdown. Getting in behind Ryan Phillips.
Well, he got behind Ryan Phillips, but part of the blame here, if you're a BC Lion fan, has to go to the lack of pressure on Anthony Calvillo. He's going to move to this side, and as he rolls, he's got lots of time. Look at his protection and throwing lane. I mean, he has no one harassing him, and it allows Terry Vaughn to work a couple moves on Ryan Phillips, get in behind him wide open.
5th touchdown of the year for Terry Vaughn, his 2nd against the Lions. Duval adds the extra point, and the Alouettes storm out to a 10-0 lead early, 2nd quarter. Well, there is Terry Vaughn, who has another catch, his 4th of the day. And the touchdown gives the Alouettes a 10-0 lead as Duval kicks it off. Aaron Lockett from inside his 10. Flag down, Lockett down. Brought to the turf by Michael Botterill. We'll sort out the flag in a moment. Let's take another look at the Vaughn touchdown.
Ryan Phillips is a rookie in the secondary, and Ryan Phillips has got one thing that he has to understand about man-to-man coverage. The only thing that matters in man-to-man coverage is your man. Terry Vaughn breaks out. Now hold it right here, guys. Look at this. The eyes of Ryan Phillips back at the quarterback, not on Terry Vaughn. His head is looking at the passer. If you look at the quarterback in man-to-man, I'll tell you what, you get the best ticket in the house for a touchdown that just caught over your shoulder.
And that Lions secondary has not been the same since Mark Washington went down with the broken collarbone. Since he's been out, they've lost the 3 straight. Printers galloping out of the pocket and heading upfield, sliding underneath Malvo at the 29. Casey Printers 2 for 9, 32 yards. He's been more effective as a runner so far today.
Well, and he's most effective, and was last year when he was the outstanding player in the CFL, when he got outside the pocket and he got some room to move around, and then he becomes a double threat. Now you have secondary and linebackers who are back there wondering, do I come up and tackle the quarterback or do I stay on my man? It really puts you in a bind.
So 38 yards rushing, 32 passing. And you can't win, I don't think, if he has more rushing yards than throwing. Antonio Warren on the toss. Dropped the football. Alouettes have it. John Nix ends up with the football.
Well, it's that bunch formation the Lions go with. They bring in Jason Claremont, Geroy Simon to provide some blocking help and to help to get Antonio Warren to the outside. That's exactly what they're going to try and do. There's the two receivers there that are going to be in the formation to try and help out in blocking. And then he gets it outside. Now it's Reggie Durden on the outside. That's the guy who's got to come up and force the issue. Right there, a guy who had a big play against the Saskatchewan Roughriders last week. He puts the hit right on the football. Out it comes, and the turnover for the Montreal Alouettes.
Reggie Durden with the interception for a touchdown in Saskatchewan. First down at the 40. Quick hitter. Dave Stallo with the catch. Robert Edwards having a pretty big day. And he's still going. Finally, Brent Johnson, Jason Crum haul him down at the 13-yard line. But Edwards has been unstoppable so far.
Well, for the young defensive players out there, tackling is more than just your arms and upper body. Tackling has got to also be your legs. And right now, the BC Lions are just falling off of Robert Edwards. They're hitting him, they're wrapping him up with their arms, but they're not keeping their legs driving, and Edwards' legs certainly are driving, and he's running through those arm tackles.
Yeah, he's cranking it off at 17 a crack so far. 136 for 1,000 needed today. He's on his way. And that pass for Terry Vaughn a little too hot, but again, Vaughn was open in the end zone.
He was, and you know what? Ryan Phillips, who was beat by Vaughn on the last touchdown, gave him a subtle little push. Here's Terry Vaughn, who's going to try and work this seam right here on Phillips. And at the end of this play, just before the ball arrives, Ryan Phillips with a subtle little push right there. He just pushed his hips just a little bit, and Vaughn couldn't open up and get to that football.
2nd and 10, Montreal from the 12 with 6 receivers deployed by Calvillo, and a pass complete. Thyron Anderson has it around the 2, and that will be a first down.
Thyron Anderson.
Well, they go from an area of the field, the Lions, where they've been playing man-to-man defense, and this time Anthony Calvillo sees his own drop from the linebackers and Barron Simpson. See how Barron Simpson opened up? He saw Terry Vaughn coming to him from the opposite side. That froze him and didn't allow him to get into the throwing lane of Thyron Anderson.
Alouettes using their timeout. And Ted White has come in at quarterback.
Well, this is the quarterback sneak area, and they might just try and go a couple of plays in a row and pound it in.
Villamick, Piercy, and Edwards in behind, and it is Edwards. It is a touchdown. Robert Edwards untouched.
Edwards takes advantage of some big blocks at the point of attack. Mike Villamick, the fullback on the play, comes up and gets the kickout block. That was the key one. I believe it was on Baron Miles on the outside. Without that block, Edwards may have some problems, but his fullback leads him into the end zone.
8th touchdown of the year for Robert Edwards. Duval adds the extra point, and the Lions have fallen behind 17-0.
The Alouettes love to run crossing routes, and Barron Simpson on the outside here is going to actually drop into the pitcher, and he almost has a crack at it first. In fact, Tony Tiller's lucky that Tiller comes up with the interception.
2nd and 8. And Printers has a completion. Geroy Simon at the 37-yard line, and that should be enough for the first down.
And that's a big interception for this football team that has been reeling at 17-0 early on here, trying to regain some of that form that had them at 11-0 early. And to have the Tony Tiller interception spark something is important for Wally Bond on these BC Lions. Not to mention the fact it's a big one for Tiller. Tiller was the guy in charge of covering Milt Stegall, or trying to cover Milt Stegall last week. Stegall put up 246 and 4 touchdowns, so it's good for your peace of mind when you make a play in the next game.
That game last week reminded me of a quote from Omar Evans earlier in the year. But defensive backs are like mountain goats. One slip and we're dead. And, well, there was more than one slip in that game.
Yeah, well, Tony Tiller slipped right down to the foothills. But he's climbing back up. That's a big play. You'll see if the BC Lions can convert.
Well, you saw inches short. So on third down, they'll hunker down in the pits. And Printers will follow his center, Angus Reid. Bates and Singh the guards and get a fresh set of downs.
So far for Casey Printers, and I saw early on in that first quarter, he threw a couple of curls. There was one curl, 15, 20 yards, that he put good zip on the football. Tried to go deep once to Jason Claremont and looked like his shoulder bothered him. He had 13 plays in the first quarter, was hurried twice, had 3 knockdowns, 1 sack, and a drop pass by G. Roy Simon, so he's not getting a lot of help either.
Looked like he was rolling left, reverse field, Warren, and Antonio Warren's got room inside the 15. Touchdown! Whoa, what a run by Antonio Warren.
Well, in the words of Jack Black, that was a face-melting solo effort. Man, what a move at the end of that play.
And a little spin into the end zone to cap it.
Well, Antonio Warren is the last resort for KC Printers, but he's flushed that way, and when he dumps it off, watch the move at the end of this play by Antonio Warren. Looked like he was going to sprint to the end zone there. Out of the corner of his eye, he sees another tackler and comes up and spins the opposite way to get in the end zone.
Nice way to hit the end zone, but it was a nice way to start the play with a nifty one-handed grab. The Lions roaring back. Anderson's got a short kick here. Who's got it? Loose ball. And the Lions, I think, well, they had a crack at it. Both teams signaling they've got possession. Lyle Green had a real shot at the football.
Well, the first 2 cover men for the BC Lions ran right past the football to try and make contact.
And Montreal gets it.
And you talk about the difference. You look at that, and Tiller was one of them. They ran right by it. Baron Simpson made contact on Anwar Stewart. Then the scramble is on, and as 3 of the BC Lions fight for it, it bounces right back into the hands of a Montreal Alouette.
Yeah, I think it was Patrick Dorvelis, but about a half dozen players who had a shot at that. Well, an interesting gamble for the Lions. Robert Edwards, 67 yards so far, and this time he won't get back to the line of scrimmage. Brent Johnson tossing him down.
You know, Chris, I talked to a couple of Lions before the game, and the question was real simple, was what's happened over the last 3 weeks in your mind? And to a man, they said, you know, some of those breaks we got, some of the bounces we got early on, and we maybe shouldn't have been 11-0 to start the season. There was a couple of games we could have lost, but we got good bounces. Then they said, you know, last week we block a punt, get nothing out of it. This week they try an onside kick to surprise Montreal. They're in better position than the Alouettes and get nothing out of it. And those are the differences sometimes between winning and losing.
2nd and 11, 6 receivers out for Calvillo. And he has a completion. Dave Stalla the catch, but cut down well short of the first down by second-year corner Sam Young.
But I would agree with you, Chris, in that the BC Lion defense right now is playing with a little more sense of urgency since the Tony Tiller interception, and that one play has given at least that side of the football a little jump.
I noticed Wally Bono got in the face of a few of the defensive players after Edwards went in untouched from the 2-yard line on that last Montreal touchdown. It's a big kick by Duval that will reach the end zone. They'll get on it there. No yards will be the call. We'll see if the Lions elect to concede the point and get better field position. 3:36 remaining in a first half where not a whole lot's gone right for Wally Buono. 65 yards the punt.
Wally Buono was indicating to decline this penalty.
He'd rather give up the point and get better field position. And they continue to confer.
It's Corey Mantica in there, one of the captains for the BC Lions. And we talk about a guy that's had to be duct taped together.
No yards. Montreal number 8 and number 20. 5-yard penalty is declined. Single point. First down at the 35.
So they do concede the single point, which makes it 18-7. Play action award, looking deep, Ryan Thelwell by himself, and he'll walk it in. Ryan Thelwell, and suddenly the Lions are back 75 yards.
And it looked like Casey Printers is back, because that was a tough throw to make, rolling to his left. And he has to do this with all arm and shoulder, because when you're rolling this direction as a right-handed quarterback, you have to just use arm and shoulder to get it that deep down the field. Watch out, he can't step into it because it's the opposite direction. He lets it fly, and Ryan Thelwell in behind Daryl Crutchfield. A busted coverage from the Montreal Alouettes secondary.
5th touchdown of the year for Thelwell, his biggest play of the season, 75 yards. In quest of his first 1,000-yard season. And McLaughlin adds the extra point. My, oh my, 3 minutes and change later, things have changed dramatically. And it's the Alouettes by 4.
It starts with the Tony Tiller interception and a little enthusiasm from the BC Lions bench, because it was awful quiet over there when Montreal jumped out to a 17-0 lead. That throw from Casey Printers has got to give some more confidence to his teammates, who are wondering, will his shoulder hold up? But as he turns that way, I mean, folks, that's all arm and shoulder to get it out there, and he threw it a long way to Ryan Thelwell.
And that, for the outstanding player in 2004, is his first touchdown pass of the year.
Well, Casey Printers is in his 3rd start of this season, and he had to, it was a surprise start versus the Edmonton Eskimos when Dave Dickinson had back spasms in warm-up and during the morning of game day. So he played that one. They won that game. He started against Saskatchewan, a game the Lions also won in Taylor Field, but Printers came out of that game early, and Buck Pierce had to finish the deal there.
You talked about teammates wondering about their quarterback. You also wonder if there was a little self-doubt and whether that was erased with that last pass.
He put something on it. He got it way down the field with accuracy in a very difficult situation when you talk mechanics for a quarterback throwing the football.
Anderson kicks it deeper, and Robert Edwards will be the return man for the Alouettes. And he is drilled as he crossed the 35. A heavy hit from Barron Simpson, the middle linebacker. The 3-minute warning given to the benches here at Percival Molson. First down inside the 40. Claremont again. Jason Claremont inside the 5. Back-to-back big receptions for the big slot back of the Lions.
Well, one of the things the BC Lions have changed up offensively is to move the pocket a little bit. Not full rollout for Casey Printers, but just move it side to side. And he gets Jason Claremont this time as they move the pocket to the left side on that quick out and let Claremont do the rest. Good blocking downfield. Paris Jackson had his man all tied up.
34 yards for the Regina product, and now the Lions knock at the door. 1st and goal at the 2. And Casey Printers wants to call a timeout.
Yeah, he got out there. He didn't have the right personnel. As soon as he broke the huddle after the play was called, he realized he didn't have the right setup, the right personnel. So many different formations now in pro football offensively. And personnel changes the call, and you have certain calls with the certain personnel on the field, and if it's not right and one guy doesn't know what he's doing, then you have a breakdown. Casey Printers, little dump off for his first touchdown pass. Antonio Warren, and this was the one that we could see. His shoulder was good. A deep one to Thelwell.
Printers rolling right. Flag down. Printers in the end zone. And Thelwell with the catch. Touchdown. Pending the marker.
Ryan Thelwell.
Ryan Thelwell with his second touchdown grab.
Well, right along that sideline. Printers had to get all the way to the sideline. We'll see what the flag is. I think they might have picked the flag up.
I think they did.
Yeah, they did. They picked the flag up and put it in the pocket. It just fell out of one of the officials' pocket. Look at it. Printers gets right to the sideline. What a catch by Thelwell. Not just to bring it in, but to get that foot inbound.
So Printers, who started the day without a touchdown throw on the season, has 3, and the BC Lions have their first lead of the day. And this one looked like it was going to get out of control the other way.
You're seeing a bit of a show from the Canadian receivers that are showcased here in this game here this afternoon, and the best of the best are here.
In fact, the top 5 Canadian receivers in the CFL all in this game. Claremont and Thelwell have padded their stats and now are at the top of that list. Maybe one day we'll have a trophy for the top Canadian receiver.
Well, that's a talented looking list. I mean, boy, is it a luxury for coaches to be able to work the ratio in other areas when you have guys like Ben Cahoon, pass catchers like Ben Cahoon, Jason Claremont, Ryan Thelwell. I mean, those are guys that are starters, and it doesn't matter what their nationality is. Paris Jackson is a starting player, and that's it. Doesn't matter where he's born. And if you have talent like that and can move the ratio in other areas, it gives you that great luxury to play maybe an American offensive lineman if you have to, or more Americans on defense. It just gives you a lot more choices.
Anderson kicks it off. Edwards wants it in the hands of Ezra Landry. And Landry up across the 40-yard line. Anthony Calvillo has 1:15 to go to change the momentum of this football game back in his favor before the half.
Yeah, and for Anthony Calvillo now, it's just a matter of settling things down a little bit. He had things going with that 17-point lead and was using and running the offensive game plan that they came in with, which was to dump the ball in those crossing routes to Terry Vaughn and see a steady diet of Robert Edwards. And won't be surprised if we see a lot more 47 as they try and settle things down.
AC 5th on the all-time yards list. He's just over 30 yards short of Matt Dunigan. All-time. He's not going to get it away. Brought down again. Not McKay Lozier finishes him off, but everybody was circling.
Yeah, and I'm going to give this one to the BC secondary because, a secondary that's fighting some psychological demons tonight has started to play better since Tony Tiller intercepted Anthony Calvillo. He has no one open there. The pocket's starting to collapse. No one's open. 4-man rush, and finally they're going to get there.
Second sack of the afternoon for this reinvigorated Lions defense. Here comes the rush again. Flag down, and so is Calvillo.
Yeah, and Chris, how much right now do the Montreal Alouettes miss Brian Chute? And I mean, not to put complete blame with the problems and the challenges over the last few series for Anthony Calvillo on the offensive line, but
Montreal number 67.
that's a perennial all-star. I mean, that's
Third down.
That's one of the best in the game, Brian Chu, and he is in the street clothes. And when you take him out of the middle, and then you got to move 2 guys. See, Luke Fritz is a tackle. Now Luke Fritz moves to guard, and you move the guard, Paul Lambert, to center. That's 2 moves. Take care of Brian Chu.
There's Lockett. Good downfield coverage there by Matthew Prue. 35 seconds on the clock. The Lions have scored 21 points in a span of 3 minutes and 41 seconds. And Casey Printers playing from the front for the first time this afternoon. 5 of his last 6, 3 touchdowns in those 5 completions. And after a dreadful start, I mean, he's halfway to a 400-yard game already.
Well, and Chris, you talked about the rust that may be on Casey Printers for not taking all the reps all week in practice and not taking many reps all year long, as a matter of fact. And maybe some of that rust is chipped off.
Warren up to the 33. Well, you've been on the sidelines before. I mean, it's 17-0 and everything's going your way. Is there a temptation on the Alouette sideline to think, you know, we've got one today?
You know, I don't think from that sideline there would be that temptation. That's a football team that went down to the wire with the Lions the last time they played, lost that game. They know it's a good football team they're facing here this afternoon. I would say, though, on the Lions bench, it would be easy on the road in Montreal when you're struggling to say, oh boy, 17-0, it's over again. But they fought back after Tiller had the interception.
2nd and 6. Printers ducked underneath Claybrooks, and off he goes. He'll step out at the 40. That's a first down. 7.3 on the clock.
It's a big first down, though, because if Printers is caught in the backfield here for a sack, he's going to force BC to punt the football, and Calvillo may have had a chance for 1 or 2 plays coming back before the half for a little momentum and just maybe even a field goal attempt. But that run and how he eludes Claybrooks to the outside, tough to say. That's not coachable, that stuff. It's just athletic ability.
Well, they will run this clock down. One more knee, and they will head to the locker room with the Lions leading by 3.
Wally Bono with that rather stern talking to the defense that he had on the sideline there has helped to turn things around, along with the Tiller interception.
And the outstanding player in the league in 2004 regaining his form late in that second quarter. It's 21-18 BC. Brett Anderson handles the kickoff duties, and Ezra Landry is deep. And this ball, will it stay in? No. And the Alouettes will take it at the 45-yard line.
As tempting as that was for Ezra Landry to grab, and he wants to return every one, he made the right decision not to.
Illegal kickoff. BC number 8. Montreal will take first down at the 45-yard line.
That ball automatically moves 35 yards ahead of where it went out of bounds, and that's where Anthony Calvillo takes over, 45-yard line.
So a good place to start for Montreal. We'll see how they have regrouped. The BC Lions in their last 3 games have been outscored badly in the second half. Calvillo, Byron Anderson up near midfield, took a hit from the middle linebacker, Barron Simpson.
Offensive coordinator Doug Barrett, I should say co-offensive coordinator Kevin Strasser also works with the passing game in their possessions in the first half. And that was a tremendous first quarter, 17-0, 2 TDs and a field goal for Anthony Calvillo in that first half. And then Kevin Strasser's passing game had some problems. Calvillo throwing a couple interceptions in the second quarter, and that's largely due to the pass rush that he had. He was fooled one time from Dave Ritchie and the defensive coordinator of the Lions.
2nd and short. See if AC uses it as a free play. He will. And there's pressure again. But he does deliver downfield. Kerry Watkins has it at the 5. He got inside Dante Marsh, and it's a 49-yard reception.
And Javier Glatt cannot believe his eyes when he turns around and looks and sees this ball caught by Kerry Watkins. Kerry Watkins is the outside receiver, is going to come all the way across the field. on a post. And this takes so long to develop that Watkins continues on. Now he's got a step on Dante Marsh, and Marsh again continuing to look back to the football. Once you're beat, you might as well find the man and catch up to him. But Kerry Watkins again with a big catch. Remember, 2nd and 32 in Saskatchewan?
First and goal from the 6. Dave Stala, and he is nailed. Ball incomplete. Flags flying down on that side of the field. But with the 49-yard completion, Anthony Calvillo has just moved into 4th all time.
You know, Canadian Football League fans in this generation have had the opportunity to watch all but Ron Lancaster play this game. I mean, you talk about Calvillo continuing to play, as is Damon Allen. Matt Dunnigan, I had a chance to play against Damon Allen, Dunnigan, Calvillo, Flutie, and McManus, and that's a group, the top quarterbacks of all time in Canadian football.
Pass interference. Montreal number 2. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
All of which still involved in the game in some capacity or another. Anthony Calvillo, of course, playing, but it's pretty cool that our generation of football fans, kids, get to see the best quarterbacks in the game's history over the last 10, 15 years.
And what you're saying is I'm old because I remember Ron Lancaster.
Well, so do I, but...
No, you're right. What a group they are. Robert Edwards has the catch back at the 6, the original line of scrimmage before the Terry Vaughn penalty. But AC's at 33. He's still got some time. He hasn't finished. He got past Dunnigan today, but he's going to pass a few more.
No question. And you know, who knows? I mean, Anthony Calvillo coming off a 6,000-yard passing season. He's on pace for close to that again. Will definitely be over 5,000. And one of the few quarterbacks in the game that still calls his own plays.
So now 2nd and goal, back at the 6. Little fade pattern, Stala, touchdown. Dave Stala and the Alouettes reclaim the lead.
Baron Miles tried to turn and argue that there was a subtle push, but he's not going to win this argument with the official. This is just great timing by Dave Stala, and the throw from Anthony Calvillo just passes Matt Dunnigan and caps off this drive by putting the ball in the perfect place for Stala. Just as Miles is turning around to look for it and try to find it, it drops over his shoulders into the hands of number 88.
Third touchdown catch of the season for Stala. Calvillo didn't waste any time in the 3rd quarter. 5 plays, 65 yards. The point after from Duval, and just over 3 minutes into the 3rd quarter. A penalty, a holding call against Michael Botterill makes the Alouettes start from the 26. Byron Anderson will get the 10 yards of that penalty back with that reception.
You know, the Chris Wilson 2 sacks, they're that much bigger plays for Chris Wilson because of the fact that Robert Edwards is the tailback. And on almost all these plays, Anthony Calvillo is either looking at Edwards or going play action with Edwards. That puts a bind on the defensive ends. It makes it very difficult for them when they have to look at the running back first.
4 receivers wide side. He comes backside, and Girard drops the ball incomplete. Well, last year they had 4 1,000-yard receivers for the first time, and then they had to revamp their receiving core, and everybody said, well, they won't be able to do that again.
And there they go. They're on pace to do it again. Kerry Watkins, the leader right now. Ben Cahoon could catch him and pass him at 1.184. And when your quarterback's throwing for 6,000, Dave Stala, Terry Vaughn, they're going to get their turns.
2nd and 10. So Brent Johnson changed sides the last second. Dave Stala's got another catch up at the 50. 13 for Stala and a Montreal first down.
Dave Stala has to clear the line, get past the initial linebacking core here in the defensive end, and then break out underneath the coverage once the rest of the secondary has bounced back. They take Terry Vaughn in the over. No way Baron Simpson can get that far.
First down at the 50. Calvillo under pressure. And there's the escapability. And he'll step out after a gain of 3. 2nd and 7. Calvillo double clutches. And Brent Johnson had the sack, but he also had face mask.
Yeah.
And the flag flies, and that will negate what would have been the 12th quarterback sack of the year for Johnson. Would have given him the league lead over Gavin Walls, who you'll see later today.
Yeah, and in fairness to
Major
Brent Johnson.
foul, face mask. BC number 97. 15-yard penalty from the point of last scrimmage. First down.
And there it is. I mean, he gets the right hand right across the face mask. Now, the mistake he makes is that he grabs on, but I figure once he has it already, he might as well get Calvillo to the ground. He didn't argue. He got up. He realized he just reached out in desperation to grab Anthony Calvillo, and all he got was mask.
It'll extend this Alouette drive to the line 42 in the flat. Catch there by Watkins.
Well, what Dave Ritchie has done with this defense right now and the adjustments he made after quarter number 1 was to force Anthony Calvillo to become more patient. You know, the quick out to Dave Stala, trying to run some play action and keep Robert Edwards involved. That quick out to the outside. Trying to make him be patient, throw the ball underneath, see if he can put together a long drive.
2nd and 3. Edwards called off the right side, and Robert Edwards has a first down at the 29. Got a little away from Edwards, who was unstoppable on his first 6 carries of the game.
Well, this is the luxury that Robert Edwards gives you. If you have a running back that when it's 2nd, 3, or 4, you have confidence can get the first down. That's, for a lot of teams in the league, a passing down.
Edwards over 900 yards now on the year. In this, only his 11th game. There's the out. Stala cuts back.
You know the other thing, Chris, that I love about Robert Edwards, and Montreal fans have got to love about him as well, is the fact that as it begins to get colder this time of year, and you may have to play outdoors, and an Edwards style of running back is the type you need for poor conditions. He's a power back with the speed to break away. But, you know, you get on slippery fields, guys like Robert Edwards and guys like, Charles Roberts, guys like that, they have problems.
Edwards straight ahead. And he has it down at the 18-yard line. Another first down.
But a back like Robert Edwards has the power to be able to get that good push on poor field conditions or in bad weather.
As you just mentioned, that's again 2nd and 5, where they have the confidence to give him the football and get the first down. Well, we saw a little of Troy Davis yesterday, giving Edmonton more of that ability now than they had shown all season long. Calvillo, Byron Anderson, touchdown. And Anderson has his first of the year. And the momentum that shifted dramatically in the 2nd quarter has moved back in Montreal's favor.
Baron Simpson is caught looking at Terry Vaughn. Terry Vaughn drew the coverage. He caused all the problems for the BC Lions. Their secondary, their nickelback Tony Tiller. Thyron Anderson slid in behind him.
Duval adds the extra point. And it is now the Alouettes with an 11-point lead. 3 yards shy of his third 100-yard game. Richard Carey, Ricky Bell to the sidelines. And Printers looking for G. Roy Simon, who got one hand on it but couldn't bring it down. And Casey Printers wants a flag.
Yeah, and so does DeRoy Thyman. He was working on Reggie Durden coming all the way across, and Matthew Prue had dropped into the safety spot. Here comes Simon. Watch how he works on Durden. Now Durden gets on his outside hip. He thinks that he's got some safety help from Prue. And see that little grab? That's the one that DeRoy Simon thought should have been called. I like that it wasn't. They get away with that. If you grab and pull just for a second, you can get away with that one.
Now Clinton Wayne goes out. Anwar Stewart back in, 2nd and 10. Printer steps up, and off he goes. And he'll have a first down and more, stepping out at the 12.
Antonio Warren allows this play to happen because, and this is the things that Antonio Warren does away from the game. And I could show you a game film after game film of this from Antonio Warren. Always in the right place, always blocking the right guy. That was Dwayne Butler coming off of the edge. Antonio Warren doesn't get recognized enough for his ability to pick up blitzes and know where to be. He allowed Printers to get out of that pocket.
Printers now 7 carries on the day and 62 yards.
You know, and last year when Printers was the outstanding player, the one team he struggled running the football against was the Montreal Alouettes. He averaged just 22 yards per game in 2 games against Montreal last year. Struggled, so good sign for BC fans that he's over 60.
Tim Strickland shaken up, looked like he cramped up. And now getting to his feet. We haven't seen much of Mark Word, but a constant shuffle in the defensive sets of the Alouettes this afternoon. Word, one of those big defensive ends that Don Matthews brought in as he reconstructed his defense, has not seen much action here in the second half.
And that's another area that you wonder, with all the personnel changes that have been made, how Chris Jones has had those challenges to deal with and try and find the right personnel that fits what they're trying to do now.
So Strickland out, Bottle in, first down, and Printers gets out of trouble again. He may score, but there's a flag as he dives in head first. A late flag when the lane was already opened up for Casey Printers to score, and it's going against the Alouettes.
You know, Carl Kidd said to me before the game, and it had this air of confidence in it, and Carl Kidd often has that, but it was the air of confidence of, you're going to see the KC Printers of a year ago, and you're going to see him in this game this afternoon. And I said, well, wait a minute. Now, he hasn't taken many reps. His shoulder's bothering him. This is the KC Printers of a year ago. To avoid this, sure sack.
Face mask. Montreal number 25. The touchdown is good. There will be a 15-yard penalty on the kickoff.
3 Montreal Alouette defenders had Printers caught in the backfield. Somehow he got out of there and got to the end zone.
Taking on the Alouette defense and some of the fans in the end zone too, for good measure. An 8-play, 85-yard drive engineered by Printers, who caps it with the touchdown. Interesting day in Montreal. Ball at the 25. Calvillo backside. There's Gerard with the catch, and he has 7.
And it really was more than just Duncan O'Mahony and could he bounce back psychologically. I mean, it became a confidence issue for the entire football team, where the offense is pressing because they feel like they have to score majors every single time down the field, which is impossible. And Mark McLaughlin's here to help him through that stretch, help Duncan O'Mahony get back on track, and give this entire team some confidence.
Great fake by Calvillo to Edwards, and he takes it himself across the 40 for a first down.
Yeah, and this is again the challenge for the 4 guys in the defensive line for the BC Lions. I mean, every single time 47 is anywhere near the ball, all 4 of the defensive linemen are right there. They are fixated on Robert Edwards.
First and 10. Here's Stallop on the hitch. And he's tripped up by Ryan Phillips.
Phillips on the tackle.
In the final minute of the third quarter, which has seen the Alouettes reclaim the lead and now hold it by 4.
Now, the one way you can help your defensive line is to blitz linebackers or blitz from the secondary and try and gap cancellation. In other words, you put a player in every gap and you just send him at the quarterback. The downside of that is you're leaving your corners in one-on-ones.
2nd and 3. Calvillo has Terry Vaughn, midfield. And Vaughn into BC territory, another first down. Terry Vaughn with the first down catch at the line, 49. Pump from Calvillo and wide open Ben Cahoon. Jolted by Crum, but he hangs on. And this Alouette offense has been in high gear in the second half.
And when they've had success deep, they've had success between the hash marks, and Jason Crum in relief of Baron Miles, who's had to play for Mark Washington. And they're trying to attack Jason Crum and see if he can come up with some plays down the middle, and so far he hasn't been able to make many.
26 yards for Cahoon. This should be the final play of the third quarter. 6-receiver package. And the ball incomplete, intended for Vaughn, who wanted a penalty and didn't get one. And he's got 20,000 people here in Montreal who agree with him. No call. 4-point Alouette lead through 3. How do you like offense? 751 yards so far. 2nd and 10. Calvillo under pressure, found Terry Vaughn again.
Well, it'll depend on the spot, and he's going to get a good one because he caught the ball, then came back towards the 15-yard line, and it looked to me like he went down on his knees then and he came back on his own, but they're going to spot it a little bit ahead of that, which should make it very close, if not first down marker. Watch how he comes back, and then he gets to the 15, then he gets tackled. But they went up and marked it where he first went down, and now they're going to have to measure it.
Vaughn with his 6th catch of the game. 931 in his career. He's 3rd all time. And it is just short. How about Calvillo in the third quarter? Vintage stuff from the Montreal quarterback. 13 of 15 and 185 yards in a quarter. So inches to go, and Ted White comes back in.
And Alouette's about 500 when it comes to third down gambles this year, 8 of 17. But this is pretty close. This is inside a yard.
Edwards right side. He's got it. He's got more. Touchdown. Robert Edwards with his 2nd touchdown run of the game.
Good patience from Robert Edwards here, rather than just slam it into the back of your offensive line. The line's got pretty good penetration at this side, the point that Edwards wanted to hit, but he just waits and patiently sort of slides to the outside. And then once he gets there, he accelerates. But again, I think the Alouettes were fortunate to get a generous spot on the Terry Vaughn catch, and that allowed Edwards to get that play and bounce into the end zone.
11th carry of the game, 99 yards for the big running back out of Georgia. And now Duval in to make it an 11-point lead. He's got it. 39-28, Alouettes in charge. Well, the big left tackle got into the end zone and made sure that Aaron Lockett wasn't coming out, so it's a single point on the missed field goal. And a 12-point lead for the Alouettes. First down BC at their 35. Warren. 40, 45. and Warren into that secondary again before he's met by Richard Carey.
Let's go back and take a look, because coaches are always so concerned on long field goals because of the great returners that they have offensive linemen covering these kicks, and that puts them in a bind. But look at Azuma Okeke. He gets down there and shows his athletic prowess at a big 310 pounds to bring down little Aaron Lockett.
That's that power yoga he does during the week to keep him limber for the cover teams. Warren had 16 in the last carry, but this time dropped behind the line of scrimmage, and there's Ricky Bell making an impact in his Montreal Alouette debut, acquired from Winnipeg for Ryan Folk, the Canadian reserve linebacker.
Yeah, another area of concern has been that corner position on the short side. They've started out with Daryl Crutchfield, then they moved him inside to halfback, and they had Armando Curry out there. He's not on the roster anymore.
Crutchfield's gone to the other corner. Flag down. Looks like Anwar Stewart was offside. Printers. And what a run by Casey Printers. And finally brought down by Crutchfield at the 40. Again, a flag down, and I thought it looked like Stewart offside. 22 on the run by Printers.
Well, and if you're Jock Chapdelaine right now, you must be tempted to just roll Printers out left and right.
Montreal number 9. Penalty is declined. First down.
Good eye. That was Anwar Stewart offside. Won't matter, but if you're Jock Chapdelaine, are you not considering just rolling Printers out and always giving him the option to take off and run, because he's breaking down the Montreal defense with his legs?
He's got 96 on the ground. First down. Time, and there's wide open. Myers coming across, and Myers down to the 17.
And one more time, if I can, Antonio Warren makes this thing happen. Okay, and Jarrell Myers is going to catch it, but watch Antonio Warren right here. If he doesn't step to the backside and seal Anwar Stewart, then Printers can't wait that long for Myers to get open.
First down, Lions marching, looking into the end zone. Simon, touchdown! G-Roy Simon. And with 8 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, the Lions get right back into it.
Well, Printers is scrapping right now, and G-Roy had to scrap G-Roy Simon all the way to the end zone and to that football. He was in some kind of fight with Kelly Malvo. And Malvo and him were hand fighting, pushing and shoving, pushing and pulling, and G-Roy Simon finally fought off Kelly Malvo and ran down that football.
So the fourth touchdown pass of the afternoon for Casey Printers, who scored one on the ground himself. McLaughlin adds the extra point. It's 40-35. Alouettes break the huddle with 2:39 on the clock. 4-yard loss for Robert Edwards. Sets up 2nd and 14. Calvillo over the middle and almost picked off the hands of Alouette receiver. Incomplete. And today's game story brought to you by Sport Check, the power of sport.
It has been the showdown between Anthony Calvillo and Casey Printers, who looks like his form is returning to him. Robert Edwards, another great game. That's 7 of 9 starts for Edwards, over 100 yards. And Terry Vaughn on that last play was wide open for first down, and Calvillo looked away.
The Lions now, Duval kick. Lockett back at his 34, no yards again. Reggie Durden, a second straight 15-yard, no yards penalty, and that will really set the Lions up nicely.
Well, that's, those are mistakes, and those are the ones that coaches, they kind of live with, because they feel that Reggie Durden's hustling, he's covering that kick, and he just,
no yards.
You can live with
Montreal number 8, 15-yard penalty, first down.
You can live with penalties that are close like this because a player is hustling, but back-to-back times now when the ball is caught in the air, this is a 15-yard penalty, and you can see Reggie Durden clearly inside. I mean, he almost didn't even slow down to acknowledge the 5-yard zone, and that's been 30 yards of real estate. Now, the Lions didn't capitalize the first time. Let's see if they can this time.
Up at the 48, 2:21 on the clock. Down by 5. And confusion here. Like Simon and Printers weren't on the same page, but Warren takes the handoff and has 3. Well, we mentioned earlier in this game that last week BC 17 penalties, 223 yards. They've been a disciplined bunch today. Just 6 penalties for the Lions. 2nd and 7. Underneath, Simon. And he lunges ahead to the 51, and he does have the first down.
Well, that's a heads-up play by G. Simon, because a lot of receivers, when they catch that ball on the crosser like that, will try and get outside, and in fact, they'll bubble to get outside, come back towards their own line of scrimmage in order to try and get the corner. Simon realizes how critical it is to get upfield and get those positive yards, and he gets just enough for the first down.
Into Alouette territory at the 51. Play action. High to Claremont, it brings it down, and whoa, Ricky Bell bounced off Jason Claremont.
The ball sailed a little bit on Printers. Claremont had to, first of all, make a difficult catch. He has to go up high to get it, and he's right here and end up out here in the flat. And then watch the contact he makes on Ricky Bell. Step up, lower the shoulder, and Bell going the other direction. Did it ring his bell?
Ed Fillion's just gone off, took a knee, and then was able to get off under his own steam, so he might be eligible to come right back in. There's 2nd and 5 completion. And Claremont, is there a tougher guy in traffic receiving than Jason Claremont?
No, he's made every catch for Claremont in this game has been one with contact, and he has had, in this kind of play, he knows he's going to get contact because he's the checkout. He's like right there, bam. You got to turn around, go and run the play. You get right in that hole, and you know one thing, linebackers coming, bam, right there in the hole.
Lions 39 yards away from the lead. Printers underneath. Claremont again. Bounced off the first contact, got a first down. Oh, Jason Claremont. Huge play.
There's nothing about Jason Claremont's game that you don't like. I mean, this guy is as tough as they come. Regina native, look at this. That's Dwayne Butler up around the head. He threw that away like, look at that. Kevin Johnson ran through his tackle, and away he goes down the sideline.
Claremont at 128 yards, his best day of the season on 8 catches. Printers rolling right. G. Simon, and that's broken up. Kelly Malvo got a hand on it. 2nd and 10 with 1:17 left.
Boy, that's good close from Kelly Malvo. That's Kelly Malvo was in a chase position on G. Simon, and G. Simon, he's got some speed to separate, but he never got to. Kelly Malvo ran him down and just got his hands on it, or Simon turns the corner and scores.
BC trying to snap a 3-game losing streak, trying to make it 7 straight wins over the Alouettes. And now the rain falling, 2nd and 10. Printers in trouble, out of trouble, and has Ryan Thowell inside the 10. Thowell, touchdown! No, they're going to rule him down at the 1. Looked like he broke the plane, but they're ruling him down at the 1, and that might not be a bad thing for BC.
I was going to say, you know, if the BC Lions score here on this Thowell play, and once again, it's KC Printers extending the down, escaping in the middle, using his eyes. Watch Thowell cut back. Now, did he cross the plane at the end of this? No, he was down because the player he was on was down.
Clock running, less than a minute to go. First and goal, Printers. Flags down, Printers in the end zone. Usually the defense does not give up a yard, but the Alouettes are selling that this one's coming back 5.
That changes things
Procedure.
drastically. Wow. That changes things drastically. Now Wally Buono will get first down again, but it takes it from the 1-yard line when really you're just trying to kill a few more seconds before you punch it in for a touchdown to go ahead and not give the ball to Calvillo with much time left on the clock to a time where you're not guaranteed to get in. Now, did Thelwell cross the plane? He's down when he rolls on Kerry Carey's back because Kerry Carey's not in the end zone.
So first and goal now from the 6. 1. Not much there. Flag down again.
I think it's offside Montreal this time. It looked like it came from the top of your screen, the top of the play, top of the formation.
So they'll take it half the distance.
And whether or not one of the O-linemen moved, I'm not sure, but clearly there was a Montreal Alouette across the line of scrimmage.
And they are giving the Lions the options.
Offside. Montreal number 93. Penalty is half the distance to the goal line.
Mark
and it
Word.
remains first down.
Now that doesn't put the football back to the 1-yard line, even though that's back-to-back, one procedure call, one offside call. The offside is half the distance, so if you're back on the 5, now you're basically 2.5-yard line, so still not automatic quarterback sneak for Casey Printers here. And he just got a late call in from the bench.
Yes, he did. Lyle Green came in late, whispered something to Printers, and here we go. Warren right side, another flag, and Warren breaks the plane. It is a touchdown. Let's see if it will stand. 44.6 on the clock, and they'll go for 2, I would think, if they have scored.
Offside. Montreal number 8. That penalty is declined. Touchdown.
So Reggie Durden offside.
Yeah, and you know, you go back to the Reggie Durden penalty that started this drive 15 yards closer to the end zone because of a no yards call on Reggie Durden.
Good second effort by Warren there to stretch it out. He has 2 touchdowns on the game. 15 for the year, 1 apiece. Running and receiving, and yes, they will go for 2 and try and make it a field goal lead. Printers couldn't find anybody one way. Still looking. Thelwell. Does he have it? Yes!
Oh, baby,
what a catch. And what a day for Ryan Thelwell. Not to mention his quarterback.
What a catch at the back of the end zone for Ryan Thelwell. This ball went up. I thought he had no chance because it had to go through a defender to get there. Printers buys some time. And this is his last opportunity. 2 defenders right there. And you can't cover any tighter than Ricky Bell was in coverage on Ryan Thelwell. And how he caught that football, I don't know.
Couple of touchdowns for Thelwell in the game, and now a critical 2-point convert. And it's a 3-point Lion lead with 44.6 on the clock. What an afternoon. Casey Printers is back. The Lions are back.
Well, it has been the type of game we expected with these 2 teams, with the question marks really only be hanging over Casey Printers and whether or not he could come back to that old form, and he has. It's clearly he has.
Just one more question left. Can the Alouettes come back?
That's right. And there is time.
Robert Edwards chased back. It goes over his head. And he's going to have to bring it out here. He's going to concede a point, and now it's a 4-point lead. And now they need a touchdown. That's a huge single by Brett Anderson and a mistake by Robert Edwards.
Wow, what a kick by Brett Anderson. Those are the little things that, again, they don't show up in the stats, but that's a huge point for the BC Lions. That changes everything for Anthony Calvillo. He's 3-down football anyway, but he could just work patiently, intermediate zones to get into field goal range. Now he's got to think a big play. Somewhere in this drive, he needs a 30, 40, 50-yard throw down the field.
A lot of mistakes in this last 5 minutes for the Alouettes, including Edwards letting that ball get over his head. But Calvillo has Terry Vaughn. Oh, what a breakup. What a play by Sam Young. Terry Vaughn looked like he was in the clear, and Young came out of nowhere to break it up.
He was in the clear, and it looked to me like they were going to get that 50, 60-yard big play. But Sam Young, look at the patience. Wait for the ball to arrive. There's no panic in Sam Young. He went through that panic stage a year ago when he was a rookie out there in the corner and teams went after him. He's learned from that experience a year ago, and he uses great patience.
That was some closing speed demonstrated by Young. 2nd and 10. Calvillo has Stala, and up near midfield, 30 seconds on the clock. You know, the Alouettes have 56 yards to go.
30 seconds is a lot of time. They don't need the big play to Terry Vaughn just yet. I mean, Stala, a couple of those plays right over the middle for 10, 15 gets him into striking distance. You want to get to where you can throw it in the end zone.
Again, it does amplify the single point and its significance, though, because Thyron Anderson just got drilled, but he got it into field goal range. But that doesn't matter. They need more.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But those plays with this much time, there's lots of time. Those plays are good for Anthony Calvillo. He doesn't have to go deep and throw it and force it into an interception or some situation like that. Plays over the middle.
Whoa.
One more first down, and he can throw it to the end zone to go ahead.
Otis Floyd with the hit. Anderson lost a lot of his equipment, but held onto the ball. AC underneath Kerry Watkins. And Dante Marsh there quickly. And they'll mark his forward progress, 34-yard line, 15.7 remaining.
And Calvillo will call his timeout now.
And how cool has he been in this final minute?
Calvillo is thinking right now, if Brett Anderson doesn't kick that football into the end zone, Calvillo is thinking of moving it to the middle of the field to put Damon Duvall on the field to tie this game up and send it to overtime. Now he's got to force it down. He's still got 35 yards, 34 yards to go.
Carl Kidd has just checked in at the last second. Tyrone Williams leaves. 2nd and 6. AC looking that far sideline, incomplete. Overthrowing Ben Cahoon, and now they're down to 1 play. They need the first down, and they have 10 seconds left. So time for 2 plays, but they need to make at least 6 to get the extra play.
Yeah, but if they get the first down, Chris, now you're around the 25-yard line, 24-yard line. Now a throw from Calvillo in the air can make it to the end zone realistically. Right now, he still needs his receivers to run to the end zone after a catch, basically, unless he heaves one.
So 3rd and 5. They've got the first down. Dave Stala out at the 20 with 4.8 to go.
And now Calvillo can throw it to the end zone. So now those intermediate routes have to be covered. The Lions secondary cannot back off. If they back off and give them the underneath is going to be good enough. It's down to 1 play, but it's a play that Calvillo can reach the end zone on the throw.
I thought last week Montreal, Saskatchewan might have been the game of the year. Maybe it's this afternoon. This has been a beauty.
Hang on.
What kind of finish do we get? Calvillo looking into the end zone, throwing it up. Dave Stala. catch of the year. And the Alouettes are 9-6.
And the drive of the year from Anthony Calvillo inside of a minute engineers the game-winning drive, capped off by that big catch.
Sam Young, who made such a big play earlier in the drive, gets beaten over the top by Stala.
Sam Young was in perfect position, and this time he panics a little bit as the ball is starting to arrive. He doesn't turn around in time. Stala is patient, waits. The ball arrives, he jumps up and brings in that football. What a drive from Anthony Calvillo.
Yep, 7 plays, 75 yards in 41.6 seconds. And the way these two teams battled today, we might just see them meet again at the end of November. Anthony Calvillo, 35th completion of the day, 440 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception.
What a display by both quarterbacks.
Now they're apparently going for 2 here. I'm not sure what the significance of this is. The season series between
doesn't matter.
BC and Montreal is of no significance.
No, it doesn't matter. And there's no time on the clock. And, you know, I would even question this because the Lions don't get a chance with the football again. But by putting Anthony Calvillo on the field, you give him a chance that he could be injured on a play that he shouldn't even be out there.
I don't know if Don Matthews thought the fans were yelling encore, but
I mean, he may just kneel down anyway. But then again, here's what happens. If you block an extra point, you go back and score.
Oh, that's right. So
yeah, that's
wise
right.
call.
Don't let him
putting the knee down, and we just saw one of the games of the year, if not the game of the year. And the Alouettes are in first in the East, and Wally Buono's hold on first in the West gets even more slippery. Dave Stala with the play of the game.